we as community foundations tend to spend a lot more time educating our donors on what are the needs in this community, what are the things you like to fund. And so let's talk about how we can help you and make sure that your money's doing what you want it to do. And it showed only 2 counties where giving was continuing to increase, both in people giving and the amounts that people are giving, and Collier was one. Be careful who you give to in a disaster, because those GoFundMe things pop up everywhere. Fake foundations get created because of fraud. You have a community in crisis, so everybody who wants to, play in the fraud category shows up saying, oh, we're raising money for the workers and we're doing this. No, they're not.
She was late to class the day that changed her life. And because of it, 250 Naples families are now moving into homes they can actually afford. Eileen Connolly-Kessler, president and CEO of the Community Foundation of Collier County, didn't plan a career in philanthropy. She stumbled into a grassroots domestic violence shelter, caught fire, and never looked back. Over 13 years, she's grown our community foundation from $62 million to $400 million in assets, quietly deploying $30 million a year into the causes most of us never see. In this episode, Eileen pulls back the curtain on how Naples really works, who funds it, who needs it, and what $34.8 billion in generational wealth transfer means for the future of this community.
So I kind of got my fingers in a lot of things, and then after 15 years of doing that, the Community Foundation president spot opened, and the guy said, hey, you should think about, the guy who left, like, you should do this. And I was like, I'm going to be bored. I'm used to high stress, shelter, violence prevention, what do you do all day exactly?
Yeah.
But I applied, got it, and did it. So I've been in this field for 26 years.
So Community Foundation is all over then. It's not just one, or is it one? So you mean the one you came to here was that one? Or the one you did up there?
One in Oshkosh.
And they're all independent?
They're all independent. There's 950 of us across the nation.
Oh, okay.
And we all morph into what our communities need. So everyone is a little bit different, does things a little bit different, because not every community is the same. So there's like 28 in Florida.
28 of them in Florida. Oh, okay. So what areas does this one cover?
We cover Collier County, we would say primarily. Right. But our donors live elsewhere too, right? So we send money all over the United States and internationally, because wherever they want money sent, that's where we do it. That's where we work with who's ever in those communities also. But if you said, what's the geographic area? It's Collier County. That's what we really try to focus on. Okay.
Well, what's the difference in Community Foundation versus other organizations that are philanthropic? Like why and what's the difference?
Yeah, like Naples Children Foundation. They're a nonprofit. Their mission is just under 18, so it's children. Our mission as a community foundation is everything. So we do children to seniors, we do healthcare, economic development, arts, environment, workers. I mean, we do everything. Other foundations, like you look at NCH, would be strictly healthcare for them. So everybody kind of has their mission. Yeah. Just that community foundations are very broad-based. We're here to see what are the gaps in the community, what can we do to make this a better community.
So an organization that you support, would that be ongoingly, or would it be a one-time deal, or is it perpetual?
It's not so much ongoing. We do programs, and we might fund them for a few years, and then they're going to need to launch at some point and find their funding elsewhere. Okay. So we're not, we're not like government. We're just going to give them a check every single year.
Ah, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I remember who's on your board. A few of them anyway.
Rob Funderburg, Brad Galbraith, Kathy Ludwig, Giselle Wagner. I mean, there's 16 board members from Collier County who are on the board.
And how often does the board meet?
The board meets 6 times a year.
And what's that like?
Those are generally 2-hour meetings. We do January. We typically have a 4-hour meeting where we're kind of looking a little more at the strategic plan, where we at. Are we hitting our benchmarks that we wanted to hit? But board meetings are typically 2 hours where if it's setting policies or whatever is happening happening nationally in Washington that could affect the Community Foundation. We're looking at those things that are going on. We're looking at, I'm trying to give them a report of some of the bigger grants that maybe we've made recently and some of the impact around that. At times we have nonprofits coming in talking to the board, kind of what's happening. January, we did a little field trip. We're doing a big project on the Golden Gate Golf Course that has taken us 5 years, and that was building 250 units for essential employees, rentals for them. And that was with the Richard M. Family Schultz Foundation and Maureen's Park Foundation and the county, and then Rural Neighborhoods, who's the developer. The foundations put in $10 million in that project so that as we built this out, we could keep the rents lower, more affordable. And so we did a little road trip, went to see what these are looking like because they will start renting this month finally.
Wow.
So, so we put our fingers into a lot of different things.
So that's actually happening. I remember hearing talk about it for a while. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. 5 years talking about it. Yes.
So
it was a long, drawn-out project,
Yeah.
but it is up out of the ground, and the apartments are ready.
And who's responsible for that?
Yeah, so the county owns the land, but they gave a 99-year lease to Rural Neighborhoods. Rural Neighborhoods is a nonprofit developer. They do apartments and housing. So they built it. They took the loans on it. We put our $10 million in between the three foundations. And how this will work is at about year 10, when it starts to cash flow, a portion of that cash flow comes back, a third of it to the Community Foundation, a third goes to the county, and a third goes to Rural Neighborhoods. So we will then be building a new fund for housing that we'll be able to use in the future. So again, Rural Neighborhoods owns it. They will deal with everything that's going on. They rent it. But we will actually see some of those proceeds, which is great.
So it will generate revenue at some point.
Yes, at some point it's going to make money.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that's how that works. So
it doesn't always work like that. This is a really unique project.
Yeah.
And when you talk to Rural Neighborhoods, who does things in Orlando and other places, no one has done anything quite like this, where you get this payback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would they do that? That's their whole mission then.
That's their
They're not
mission.
a for-profit organization. They're
a nonprofit organization.
Oh, okay.
Right. They do a lot in Immokalee. And they, after hurricanes, they've stepped in and helped us here in Naples when
Yeah.
we've needed, a builder type organization to come in or a developer. So yeah, they're great to work with.
So that's real world impact on low, because housing is such an issue here
Yes.
for all the people that work.
Mm-hmm.
The working people, it's really, really difficult. Some have to live in Lee County or so far away.
Many do. 52,000 people drive in every day
See
here.
that. Yeah, on the
Yeah.
roads. I know we have many of them that work in our salons that have to make that trek.
Yeah.
Yeah, for every day. So that's but I didn't know there was actually anything that was really concretely happening or that did happen that can be done to help that issue.
Yes.
'Cause it's-
250 units.
Wow.
And they're anywhere from 1 to 3 bedrooms, a lot of amenities, gorgeous pool area. They'll have the pickleball courts. They've got a community center. They got a workout center. They got a dog park. So it's really a nice development.
And how is the criteria to determine who gets to go there or who gets this?
Well, Rural Neighborhoods has to do that, but it is our primary goal was to rent to essential employees. So police, teachers, nurses, EMT firefighters, healthcare, whatever. That's really the priority. Now, I would guess if he doesn't rent them all off, then there'll be other people that will have the opportunity to rent there also. But our hope was originally, we don't want our police driving an hour or an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Because when there's a crisis, you want your police in your community.
Sure.
Not being called in and going, I'll get there in 2 hours. Hold
Right.
on to the crisis for me,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were involved in that the whole way through then because you've
All
been
the
there a
way.
while. Yeah.
All the way.
Yeah, that had to be something.
It was our project with the Schultz Foundation that we took to the county saying we could do this. And then Maureen's Park stepped in to help with that also.
Why?
Because the other piece of that, well, one, they need they have, medical workforce in Maureen's that needs it. But the other piece to this particular project is about 120 units will be built in phase 2 that will be for seniors and veterans.
Oh, I did hear something about veterans. Okay.
Yes. So, for moorings, that is certainly their mission around seniors. So it's a wonderful thing for them to be involved in this project because of that too. But there was a time, like 5 years ago or less, where we had about 60 women, senior women, living in their cars in Collier County. And our Women's Foundation really stepped up and was helping to make sure we could get those women placed out of those vehicles and into apartments. But it's hard because the average Social Security check for a woman here that's single is about $1,008. And where are you going to find an apartment for that? You're not. A one-bedroom apartment, they're running $2,000. So it was really important that phase 2 exists to help us place people, veterans who were living in the woods or living somewhere else and needed a place. Collier Warrior Homes does a great job, but again, you're going to always need more housing. So this will be a way to
phase
deal with
2.
that.
This is called. That's part of phase 2.
Yep, that'll start in September, I believe.
And where does that go? On the
That
same.
goes right on the same property. Yep, right on this 23 acres that the county gave for this project.
And where is that?
It's on the Golden Gate Golf Course, so Collier Boulevard.
Right.
Yep.
At the intersection there of Collier and Golden Gate, or further?
I think it's a little further down. It's close to where you get on 75 off
Oh,
Collier.
okay, in between.
Yeah.
On Collier, it used to be 951 or whatever they call it.
951,
Yeah, yeah,
850, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was that like getting? Because you got so many entities to deal with, and you got government on top of that. Like, how do you get something like that to happen?
I'll tell you, if I was sitting in Wisconsin yet, it would have been done in 12 months. There's no question. We did lots of projects there, and we moved very quickly. Here, that is not the case.
Why?
I think in our case, the biggest problem was the golf course. Because contamination, right, from years of spraying weeds and fertilization. Okay, so you had to get through that. And then how are you going to build out the golf course with these swales for water retention, right? That was a big issue. Then we had found bats were on the property. And
Are they protected?
well, that was, I think, part of the question. What breed is this bat? And are they living there or are they just visiting? And so 2 studies had to be done on that. And they were just visiting, so they could be, we didn't have to worry about them. We didn't have to keep their housing for them.
Yeah. So a study had to be done.
2 studies they did on the bats.
2 studies had to be done.
Yes.
Where a wildlife expert comes in, or what's a study? How does that work?
Rural Neighborhoods handled it, so I don't exactly know who had to all come in to do these studies to figure out where these bats were
gotta
living,
get
visiting. Yeah.
And see whether they're transient or not.
Yep. So there was a lot around the land itself where I think that isn't always common. If we would have went out and just bought land, probably would have been a lot easier, would have been a lot quicker. But the fact the county was involved in this, and how is that contract going to look, and who's going to be the developer, and how is this going to all play out? It just it was a very, very long process.
Because the county owns the golf course too now?
Yes, the county has a golf course. They always, yes. They bought, they bought that land, it was like 167 acres, I believe.
Okay.
And the plan was to put the veterans nursing home there, which is happening. We wanted the housing project. That was 23 acres. And then they're doing, I think it's 12 holes golf course for the public. That will be there.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
County run. That's a county. Okay.
Yes.
So you also had to deal with changes in leadership at the county level too,
Yes.
right? New people coming in, and then you got to...
That delays things.
Right.
Because you have to get them up to speed as to why this is important and what is this project actually going to be.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it definitely took longer than any of us thought it would take. But, hey, people are moving in this month. So,
Yeah, that's
it's great.
amazing. Yeah. Who was instrumental from the county side or from the government side in making it happen?
Well, keep in mind we had leadership change because originally had Leo in there and you had Nick and you had all these people that started the project with us. Then they all left. So then it was get all these new people. Certainly Amy Patterson was supportive and was amazing. The commissioners, Bill McDaniel and Rick LaCastro and Bert Saunders, they were there kind of from the beginning, so they understood the project. So then you're, working to get the other commissioners to buy in and understand the importance of doing this. So yeah, there was plenty of turnover in those 5 years.
Yeah. And that was something that you what you knew was a need, but you could see that this was a clear pathway that could make a difference for our community. Like that, we can get this done.
We can get this done. Absolutely. And, we've, so the Community Foundation, that was one piece of housing, but then we did other things in housing. We did a lot of research of other community foundations in big cities like Atlanta and Austin and other places, trying to figure out how are they dealing with housing. Housing affordability is a problem everywhere. And they said to us, one of the big things they did was create like a hub housing organization. So somebody who knew who were the developers, where were they going to put projects, how much affordable housing do we need? If you were somebody looking, this would be a place you'd start. So we were able to work with 3 kind of housing organizations and brought them together under what is now the Housing Alliance for Collier County. So it is that hub. So that was another piece we put a lot of money into to help them get started, get their staff started, kind of create the structure so that if you're looking for an apartment, hopefully you can go on their site and see what's available in the price range in which you have to live, right? Because we're saying you shouldn't spend more than 30% of your income on housing. So what does that look like? Then the other piece that we figured out when we were doing our research is many community foundations have like an impact fund where you work with developers in the early part of their venture. So when they're trying to look at, we have to rezone and we have to get architectural drawings done. The things that they're going to need before they go to the bank or go wherever they're going to go for funding. So we decided we would do loans. So up to $3 million, like 3%, make it really affordable, help them get started, and then they pay us back, and then we move on to the next one. So we raised about $5 million that we have in that fund. We've done 2 loans already. Both are paid back already. So that was like another piece. So there's all these pieces you have to bring together in the community. It isn't just one project.
Right.
Lots of projects.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that agency that got created that you're talking about that kind of pulls everything together.
Housing Alliance. Yep.
Housing Alliance. Mm-hmm. So that's something that people could go to.
Yes.
And see what's available.
Exactly.
And they're centralized.
Yes.
For the whole area.
Yes.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yes. So we've brought things together. So if they're looking for, how are they going to afford a mortgage versus what kind of rents, whatever it is, that should be the place you start.
Okay.
Yep.
And what's the name of the organization again?
Housing Alliance.
Housing Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Website and all that. We'll figure
all
that
there.
out.
Yeah.
Good. We'll get that for people because that's something that
Yeah.
people moving here. We have stylists who move here from other areas that just
Yeah. It's like start there.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. You mentioned you got to keep an eye on what's going on in Washington. Why? How does that affect you?
Well, it affects the Community Foundation primarily with our donor advised funds. So we have donors in the community who, let's just say they take $100,000, they put it in a donor advised fund, they get a tax deduction immediately. They work with us to determine where they want their grant making to go.
What's a donor? What do you call it? A donor?
It's a donor advised fund.
Okay.
So the point of that is you get a tax deduction for what you give the community foundation, and then we're going to help you figure out what is it you want to fund and, what are the biggest needs in the community. Let me tell you about the organizations that address that need to help you give your money away and know that it was given away appropriately and that we then do evaluation to make sure that your money is spent the way you want it to be spent. But Congress doesn't like the fact that anybody holds any funds. They want all the money in and out. That's how government operates. They don't spend just even the money that they have today, but they also spend a whole bunch of money they don't even have yet.
Yeah,
right?
real good at that. Yeah.
We say don't do that. We're saying, have some control and let's not spend more than we have, and let me help you give it away the best way that we can help you give it away. So therefore, we work with donors, but then we work with all the nonprofits in the community also. We our staff know their programs, they know their staff, they know the good, the bad, the ugly, they know what they need, because they're telling us all the time. We have a nonprofit directory on our website, so people can kind of look up nonprofits if they want to do that. But when Congress gets involved, all of a sudden they want like We want you to have to pay everything out. We don't want the donor to take a tax deduction until they're going to make a grant, all this kind of crazy stuff, because they really are just trying to push money into the community, which, okay, is fine. But when you push it all into the community, then there's none sitting back here to deal with whatever crisis might come up. Right? Like if you give it all away this year, then there's no money next year to give away. It's not the best way to operate, but it's how they operate. So they think everybody should operate like government. We fight that tooth and nail.
So that money, even though it's in your hands and you're a not-for-profit, they don't want it sitting around. They want it to go in and out.
They want it out in the community.
And the what they're doing to make sure they do is we're not going to give him the deduction unless you do
That's
this.
right. There's all kinds of games they can play on that. That's correct. And they really don't like the fact that Harvard and Yale and these big universities have
those?
massive
Oh my
endowments,
gosh.
right?
Yeah.
Where you never spend the principal, you only spend the income. So you have money this year, next year. They highly dislike that.
Yeah.
But really, we tell nonprofits you need to build endowments for sustainability. You cannot spend all your money down in 1 year and then start January 1st having to raise all this money again and hope that we don't have a drop in the market, hope that donors continue to give, hope we don't have a recession, right? Things happen in our society and we are, we just don't agree that every dime should be spent. Like we're about build endowment, have sustainability. Donors like to know that they're giving money to an organization who's going to be here in 10 years, right? Otherwise, it's like, well, I'm giving them money now, and then they go out of business next year.
Yeah. Is that ongoing? Has that been going on a while? Is that a never-ending type thing, or is that just newer that they started dipping their fingers in that and don't want it done that way? Or
Congress, I'd say in the last 4 years, it's definitely been more dipping their fingers than it ever had been before. Yeah.
So they're scrutinizing it and saying,
Right.
we're going to add this rule and that rule.
And we've been, every community foundation, our world's been hiring lobbyists and trying to educate them on the roles that community foundations play. They just, they look at commercial funds like Schwab and Fidelity and these, and they have large donor advised fund assets. They don't like that. But we're saying,
there are for-profit businesses that have this type of thing.
That have this too. Oh yeah,
Oh,
they have a nonprofit, side.
Oh.
And then they are encouraging donors to put donor advised funds in their coffers. Also,
Okay.
different in a commercial fund. Commercial funds are a little bit more like a bank. So you put a bunch of money in a donor advised fund with them, and then you go online and you just say, I want money sent here or there, just like you're writing a check to a bank. We, as community foundations, tend to spend a lot more time educating our donors on what are the needs in this community, what are the things you like to fund. And so let's talk about how we can, help you again and make sure that your money's doing what you want it to do. That's where our evaluation piece comes in. So we're kind of maybe more the middleman, the broker, the oversight than what commercial funds are. They just cut a check. They have no idea what's going on in our community, any community.
Is there a lot of red tape around the IRS and reporting of all that from your end? Is there a lot of extra work for what you guys have to do?
There is not at this moment, but they're, I think, trying to make it a lot more difficult for us at times.
Okay.
But, so far I've been able to kind of hold them off, and hopefully that will continue because, this country was built on philanthropy. It was built on people's time. It was built on people's money. And it's what America is. We have to continue down that path. It's the only way. Otherwise, your taxes would be so high, you would never be able to survive here otherwise. I mean, if philanthropy plays such a huge role, it's billions and billions and billions that are given from people's pockets into the community to help those who are less fortunate. So we have to continue.
How does our area do compared to other areas in terms of giving? Are we generous?
Actually, our area is really well. There was a study done a couple of years ago by Florida Nonprofit Alliance for the state of Florida, and it showed only 2 counties where giving was continuing to increase, both in people giving and the amounts that people are giving, and Collier was one. And Marion County was the other. So there was the rest. We're seeing some declines in people giving.
Yeah.
So Collier, Collier does amazing.
And you've been with this organization for how long?
13 years.
That's not normal, is it, for somebody to be in a position that for that length of time?
I think in community foundation world it is because it's such a great job. Nobody wants to leave because we're doing great work, helping donors and helping nonprofits and making a change in the community. It's a great thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's great that the organization doesn't have a lot of turnover. Then that's
no, and we don't have a lot of staff turnover. Most of our staff are, they're 5, 6, 7 years. They don't leave once they get in there.
Yeah. What are some of the organizations that you work with locally?
Oh my gosh, all of them, from Conservancy to housing organizations. Again, I can give you the whole list from mental health to to the arts. It's everything. If you looked at our site, you'd see about 273 nonprofits from Collier that are on our website. And then we have all the nonprofits that are in other states that we work with because, again, donors want to send money from where they're from or where they have a second house.
Right.
They want to continue to support that community, which they should. I mean, we're not saying, you're here in Collier, so don't give back to where you came from. No, absolutely. Give back to them. Give to us. We have a unique twist, though. I come from Wisconsin. I don't know what our taxes were. They're like 15% or something. But then the counties, right, because they're collecting all this money, they would make sure that money went to shelters and to food and to whatever those human service needs were. Collier County, however, you domicile here to not pay taxes, right? They do not have tax dollars. They don't use any property tax dollars to give our nonprofits that deal with housing, like St. Matt's or homeless or shelters or domestic violence or whatever it is. Everything is raised on philanthropy here. That is not the case in the vast majority of even Florida. Florida, the average is like 4.8% of their budgets for their counties give to human services. That is not the case here in Collier.
So built into their budgets in a lot of the other states is a certain amount for those services.
In Florida, it is too. They take it from property tax in Florida in other counties. We do not here in Collier. We are
it's
very
county
unique.
by county.
It's county by county.
Oh.
We're very unique here.
Oh, interesting.
So everything is raised on philanthropy. And we did a study 2 years ago going, what is that number that nonprofits have to raise from people like you, individuals? It's $550 million. And that's 15% of their budgets. Only 15% here in Collier County has to be raised every single year just for these nonprofits to survive. Wow.
Yeah.
That was mind-boggling to see that number. I was thinking maybe it's 100 million, maybe it's 150 million. Yeah, I had no idea the amount that's being raised.
How do I not know that? I mean, how is that not common knowledge? Like that's a pretty
you got to
big
do
deal.
a study for that to determine that. So we hired, again, the Florida Nonprofit Alliance to go through 990s on all these nonprofits to pull numbers. Yeah, it's a big number.
So even the fact that Collier County doesn't have that or doesn't include that, I mean, it could be a benefit in two ways. Like, hey, we're saving you this money, but we also have it over here that you can give to that too. But it's just, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I'm not actually opposed to the way it's set up.
Yeah.
Because I don't think government really is always good at giving money
I
away.
couldn't agree more.
And it becomes very political, right?
Of course.
You're going to commissioners going, oh, my organization needs money, right? And they're in a weird spot.
Yeah.
So I kind of don't mind this. But what it does do is it sets us up in Collier County that philanthropy is so important to us.
Yeah.
How do we make sure that we have it today, tomorrow, and 10 years from now? Well, the way we do that is we build endowment, which is what government doesn't like. But you build those assets at a community foundation so that they have it when the next COVID hits that nobody saw coming, right? Or the next crisis that hits that we can't see coming today. You got to have that money set aside to be able to deal with what's happening in our communities.
Yeah.
And a study was done for county by county for the state of Florida as to how much money is transferring right now from the baby boomers down to their family, their grandchildren, their loved ones, whoever. For Collier County, between now and 2032, $34.8 billion is transferring. And we're just going, you know what? If we could get people to give 3% of their estates to the community foundation, that'd be $1 billion that we could endow, which would give us $50 million a year, 5% spend, $50 million a year to deal with issues in this community. Nowhere near the 550 we really need, but you got to start someplace.
Yeah.
$8 billion would give me everything I need, but maybe is a little aggressive. So we're just saying, this transfer's happening. If people just would think about 3% going to charity in their estate plans.
So that transfer is happening just because life goes on and people die.
Because life goes on.
Right. And this money goes somewhere.
That's right.
So what do they do with it and how do they?
That's right. How much do the kids need, right? How much do the grandkids need? What is it you want to be remembered for when you're not on the face of this earth anymore, right? What are the things that are important to you that you might want to give to? So we can help you do that, the charitable part of it. And 3%, it's not enough that your kids will hate you for giving away 3%.
Yeah,
right?
It sounds very minimal.
It's minimal, and it maybe actually teaches your children and your grandchildren about the fact that you had the values about giving back to the community in which you lived and cared about, right? So it kind of can play two things: teaching people that you care about that they should care, and also helping a community which is dependent on philanthropy to survive.
How do you get that out in the world?
Yeah, we spend a lot of time with advisors, with wealth management, with attorneys, CPAs, educating them on the needs in this community and the amount that has to be raised, because they can talk to their clients about this, right? They're putting together their plans anyway and their wills. So it's a lot of it. On our website, I public speak a lot. We talk a lot about the fact this transfer is happening and what the needs are in this community. The part of the hard thing is a lot of the wealth is Pelican Bay to Port Royal, right? You don't see a lot of homeless in that area.
Yeah.
And you don't have to go much farther, right? Everything you need is on that side of town.
Yep.
And so we spend a lot of time educating about there is homeless here. There are veterans that live in the woods here. There are seniors that are living in their cars. There are children who are being abused. Like all these things are happening. It's a little more hidden here than maybe where I came from in Wisconsin. It was a little more obvious. It was on the streets. You'd see it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is hidden here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Pleasantville in certain areas here.
Yeah, everybody, and once a week I hear, we live in paradise, we live in paradise, we live in paradise. That's true.
Yeah.
But there's also huge need. St. Matt's house, who, houses and shelters, I'm sure Ben's going to hurt me for this because I don't exactly remember, but I think it's like 1,300 people or something a year. It's a lot of people are going into shelters and need help here. Food lines. You hear it on the news all the time, how many people, Harry Chapin and Meals of Hope and, again, St. Matt's, all these people who are in line for food because they just don't have enough money to make it work. Rents are high, even for our workforce, our police, our teachers. Rents are high, $2,800 for a 1-2-bedroom apartment here, right? Yeah. So the working people need help here, too. It's not just very low income. It's your middle income people too.
Sure. Yeah. I'm still baffled by the fact that our Collier County doesn't have any allocation to that. And that's
it's only federal or state money that's coming down through the county that they give away.
Yeah.
They do not set money aside from property tax.
But that other counties in Florida do.
Yeah. About 4.8%. Yep.
Wow. I agree wholeheartedly. The government doesn't do a good job of spending our money. They're not as resourceful at it.
Right.
Not good. So
as long as this model works, it's a great model.
Yeah.
But how do we preserve this for the future and have the resources when these weird, like a hurricane hits, things that we're just not expecting today.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially because the last couple of hurricanes we've had have been like nothing in my life. I've lived here a long time, and we haven't had anything like those Irma and Ian, and
Yeah, we've had some
really,
big ones come through.
They've really impacted
Hopefully,
us.
we're in the new pattern now.
Yeah, for another 40 years.
For another 4 years or whatever.
40.
40,
Yeah, I was here
whatever.
most of my life, and we always had these little, just
Little tropical storms
yeah,
and things.
yeah. They were called a hurricane, but it wasn't that big a deal. And then the last couple really just So I see that you're being prepared for those. No, your organization is like you're ready for that.
We are, and we actually have a fund called Collier Comes Together, and we raise the money for our nonprofits in the county when there are those kinds of disasters.
Mm-hmm.
The things I tell this community is be careful who you give to in a disaster, because those GoFundMe things pop up everywhere.
Yeah.
Fake foundations get created because of fraud, right? Like you have a community in crisis, so everybody who wants to, play in the fraud category shows up saying, "Oh, we're raising money for the workers and we're doing this." No, they're not. Yeah. So it's like, give it to us. We're reputable, and the county and every municipality we have a contract with, an MOU with, that says Collier Community Foundation, the Collier Comes Together Fund, is where people should be putting their money because we get it out, and we do not take any fees off those dollars when they come in. So,
Oh, really?
Nope. In a crisis, we just collect the dollars, we shoot them out to our nonprofits, and we don't.
Well, that's awesome to know. I didn't know that. Yeah, that's great for people. People should be aware of that. Yeah, because it's vetted. It's going to the right place, and there's no, you're not even taking any admin money out of it. That's awesome.
We don't.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah,
because people do want to give, especially during those times. They want to help. They want to do whatever they can, and sometimes it's whatever's hanging right in front of them, and it might not be the right one.
Right. Yeah, we raised over $10 million after Ian.
Really? Just no kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
With people, really wanting to help. And it's interesting, when we get these hurricanes, we have gotten money from other countries, from people all over the United States. There was just by weird coincidence, but up in Oshkosh, like a class, little kids, like first or second grade, had a penny war and raised money and sent a check,
How cool is that?
I mean, so people do want to give, and it's amazing, but God, people just need to be careful how they give, who they're giving it to.
Yeah.
And just make sure it's legit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, this chapter has been around for how long? The one for Collier County?
40 years this year.
40 years.
Yep, 40 years, this community foundation. And we have given away $400 million in grants in those 40 years. And we just hit $400 million in assets that we hold right now. And so, we're kind of on the 40 kick right now.
Yeah.
The 40 kick.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
How do you manage that? That's a lot of money to manage. How do you do that?
We've got a good finance team. We have a great investment committee and investment firms that we work with. And then we've, again, great staff that are doing grant making, sending money out the door, working with donors, doing whatever we need to do to get the money out the door. It's great to say, you look at Tampa, probably has $1 billion in their community foundation, and Sarasota maybe $600 million. Jacksonville, I'm sure today is probably $700 million. So we're not as big as the rest of the community, many of the community foundations in the state of Florida. Mm-hmm. But it's like, it's great to have assets, but what are you doing with them? That's the question, And we do typically $30 million a year, sometimes much more, seldom less anymore. $30 million a year out in grant making.
And how does an organization go about, what's the process for them getting seed money or money from you?
Yeah, they can apply online. We have grant cycles, and it's all on the website, so they apply online. And then we have the staff, kind of get it all organized, and we have committees of community people who come in and review grants and then make their recommendations on where the money should go. And then we send it out.
So that's there's a thorough system in place that
yes, there is,
figures out where it's going, how it's
right.
going.
And then the nonprofits have to give us a 6-month and 12-month report on what they did with the money, so that again, we're assured that they're spending it based on what they asked us for, and they didn't get the money and then decide to do something way over that had nothing to do with what they said they were going to do with it, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so we do monitor that.
You talked about that generational wealth transfer that's happening. what is that like that because of the baby boomer population
Mm-hmm.
shift, and now those people are dying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of those on the edge of that too. Yeah,
I'm there.
Yeah. So they having that group of people
Yep.
educated on, hey, this is. I mean, otherwise the government's going to
That's
dip their fingers into it too.
Correct.
Right?
You're going to pay tax on it.
Yeah.
You know, you like to think everything's going to go to the kids, but that isn't the way it typically works. There
Yeah.
are things that are taxable, IRAs and other things that are generally taxable that people are going to give to the government, and then you want them giving it away to
Yeah.
what they want.
Yeah.
Instead, you can plan it out the way you want.
Yeah.
And even in our funds, so let's say that, you love kids and you want to, or let's do animals. You say, I want to give to organization that is giving animals away, Humane Society or whatever it is. Great. We would, after you're gone, we have the fund, we send a check every year in your name to that organization. And if that organization were to go away, because we don't know where things are going to be in 50 years, many times we have a plan B that you've given us already, saying if that goes away or changes philosophy and decides it's all of a sudden a high kill shelter and we don't want that, then you tell me, what do you want to see happen? Like, you can control this from the grave. Very few things you can control from the grave, but this one you can.
Oh, wow.
So then, that way, we always say it's your money. You earn this. Just tell us how you want to see it spent.
I never knew that something like that existed. Like that,
Yep.
that could be done like that. I thought it just
Yeah.
had to be, check goes to them and that's it. And it's done just like the government wants it to be done
Yep.
that way. But I didn't
No.
realize there was somebody that could manage it for perpetually.
Yeah, it can be perpetuity. And some people don't like perpetuity. Some people are like, in 10 years or 20 years, I just want it all spent out. Great. Tell us what you want done, which organizations you want to support, and we'll send them 10% a year for 10 years, and then it'll be spent out. So, we're totally flexible. Again, it's what do you, the donor, want?
So does it goes to an organization. It's not like scholarships or some things like that.
We can do scholarships.
Oh,
We do.
really?
Yeah, we do about, $3 million in scholarships a year. We have a scholarship website for the county. Lots of scholarships on there. So hopefully most of our scholarships, they fill out one application and then they answer all these questions and it'll tell them what they qualify for, which ones they qualify for.
Wow.
Kind of pulls it for them.
Yeah.
And then they can go through those and go, yes, I want to apply, or no, I don't want to apply for that.
Jeez, that's great.
Yeah, so we've got a great scholarship team. And they're hard at it this time of year.
Yeah.
Because it's March and they'll have everything ready to go by May, so kids know what they're getting. But
Yeah.
the sad thing is only about 38% of our kids that apply actually get scholarships because we just don't have enough money in it. But if you look at wanting to address poverty, it is the one thing. It is the only thing is education
Yeah.
that can get people out of poverty.
Yeah.
So we wish there was more scholarship money for kids. And, they go in Florida schools, but they go to other schools too, and that's okay. It's wherever they want to go.
People are asking for it. There's a demand for it.
There's a
definitely.
huge demand for
good.
scholarships. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it doesn't have to be 4-year colleges. It can be a 2-year college. It can be a technical college. It can be a certificate program.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great to know too.
Yeah.
People that we know. Why? Why do you do what you do?
Why do I do it personally?
Yeah.
It's a passion. It's, again, I think it's the social work type personality, where
Yeah.
you want to make a difference.
Yeah.
My master's is in public administration, which, that kind of teaches you to really understand the environment around you, or government and others, and how
Yeah.
what the impact that could be on the community or on us. But it's about helping the community, making it a better place.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What happened in your life, or what led you to start with the shelters? What
Yeah.
what was it?
Well, that was kind of an accident, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I grew up with my mom was a school teacher, so big Catholic family. So you kind of you have those values kind of instilled upon you pretty young. So and my mom, kind of brought up her daughters very much about, you have a career and you aren't going to just go get married. you're going to do something with your life. So that's where it starts. But then when I was in college, I was a little late for class when you had to pick your field placement. And so I picked this thing. I didn't even quite know what it was, but what difference does it make, right? I'm going to get some education out of this thing. And it was at a domestic abuse shelter that was just starting. So it was very grassroots, ground up. So I got in to understand how grassroots works in a community, which was, I mean, I could not have paid for that education enough for what it did for me. So it taught me how to build it. So then I went to Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and started a domestic abuse shelter. Kind of replicated what we had done in Green Bay, took it there, and rest is history.
Yeah, it's just been in your blood.
Yeah.
Mom was a teacher. Is she still alive?
No, passed away just 6 years ago, I guess it is, April 30th. So
What was her name?
Helen.
Helen?
Yep.
How would Helen describe you?
Very assertive, I think.
Where are you in the birth order? Your
I'm the
brother,
last one.
Oh, okay.
So that's the one that's the clown, and I've learned from my siblings. Yeah, I think she always would say she's so proud of her kids, and everybody had great careers, but mine was definitely more community based than my siblings. I out in the community doing these projects for 40 years, so it's been good.
Anybody who had a big impact on you growing up that just really
I think probably
always?
my first boss, which she was a great mentor, and she's the one that taught me about the grassroots movement, because back in the late 80s, early 90s, domestic violence was like people were barely talking about it then, right? There weren't laws about it. People were living in it. So she was a great mentor on that, I have to say, for impact. But, I've had great boards, great people. There's been just a lot of people, I think, that have impacted me.
What's it like working with a board? You've got that oversight that's unique because you got all kinds of people on a board. Could be made up of so many different powerful people.
Right.
That what's that like? That experience of that? Because I'm working in a business where I'm an entrepreneur and I don't have anybody looking over. Sometimes I could use it. It would be great. But to have
there's good and bad to that. No. What is that like? It is great because you have a lot of different people who have had different experiences. So when you're bringing issues to them, saying we've got a problem in the community, a lot of them have connections of who we need to get to or what we're trying to accomplish. But there's a balance. I always say it's kind of an art where you have to learn how much information you give a board so they don't start to micromanage, right? And let you do your job.
Yeah.
I need them for policy. I need them for budget and resources. I don't need them for everyday operations. So there's that. There's that. You're always kind of how much is enough that they understand what's going on, but not too much where they start going, well, what kind of copy machine do you have? And, no, we're not going to have that conversation. So.
Yeah. And you have to know going into a meeting, well, you know your audience, so you know what you've got to prepare for. So this one's going to be asking me about this. This one's going to be asking me about that.
You do learn that. Yes. And then, we spend time with people in this community. Why would you want to be on our board? Like, what do you want out of it? Because that's important for us to know too, as new board members come in, what do they want?
Yeah. Yeah. So what would be some reasons why they would be on the board?
I think for many, they love the fact that the Community Foundation is so broad in all of the things we deal with versus, again, that narrow, just healthcare or just education or just arts. Like, we do it all.
Yeah.
So they like that, and they see the impact, bigger projects like this housing project. We've done a lot in environment with planting on the dunes, natural plants, and experimenting with botanical garden and conservancy and on what things might work. So they like the fact that we have the ability to do that. that we have the resources to do it,
Yeah.
and the impact that we can have on the community.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Had no idea because you do cover a wide array
we do.
from animals to vegetation to nature to
Yep.
humanity. Just
Yeah.
a lot of different areas that you're
Mm-hmm.
involved in. Do you
Right.
have a, a lot of organizations have like their annual fundraiser or whatever. How do you get money? What's the process for you guys?
Yeah, we don't. We have a women's foundation event that we do just for the women's foundation to raise money for women and girls. But that's pretty much it. We're not a fundraising. We don't raise funds like that.
Right.
Our money comes in a variety of ways. It's donors who want to start funds with the community foundation. They bring assets in. We're in wills and estates. When people pass away, that brings assets in. We work with our nonprofits. We talk with them about building those endowments, and so they place those with the community foundation. So it kind of comes that $400 million's in all different pots, and then we take a fee off that. On average, we charge less than 1% of our assets. So my budget right now is about $3.2 million. We have $400 million in the bank. So it's not very expensive for us to do our work.
Yeah. How many staff do you have?
16 of us.
16. And we'll be moving to the new office.
We'll be moving to the office, and then we're going to hire a couple more staff. And yep,
When is that happening?
that's this summer. We'll be in sometime between June and July
Okay.
in the new offices.
So when you came to Naples from Wisconsin,
Mm-hmm.
you had been coming here. You had visited a few, and then you had the opportunity to come here. What were some of the things that surprised you about the area?
Number one, the community foundation then only had $62 million. That seemed very low to me going into a community with such wealth. So that was interesting as to why that had happened.
That was 13. How many years ago?
13 years ago.
13 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow. 62 to 4 plus. 100 plus. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was part of it. I remember like going, where do the workers live? Right? Because when you're coming here and you're visiting, you're on this side of town
Yeah.
with that has the water and the wealth, and you're like, well, where's everybody else living? That took a little bit to kind of figure out after we got here. I was surprised we didn't really have a good needs assessment in the community, and now we have done every 5 years. Now we're doing a needs assessment with the Richard M. Schultz Foundation, and we're interviewing groups around Collier County. We have surveys that people fill out to tell us what do they think the biggest issues are affecting this community. Housing, environment, those are the two top. And people are very concerned about roads and infrastructure, but I can't deal with that. The county has to deal with that.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit like, wow, how do you decide where money's going to go if you don't even know where the needs are? So that's what we've been really working on, is to make sure that we have a lot of knowledge in the community foundation on what are the needs, what are the gaps, what are we making a difference on, and what are we not. So we have dashboards on our website.
I was just going to ask you, is that available? Can we look at that?
Yeah, just go on our website. There's lots of information, lots of studies. The needs assessment study is there. The one we did, right after Irma, we had one, and right after Ian. So we decided every 5 years we're going to have a hurricane when we're doing our study because
that's
it
how that
keeps
works,
coming up. So we have a lot of data that we monitor and have been monitoring so that you can see, is it going up or down? What impact are we having?
So that surprised you, the 62 million to where we were, and now you're at over 400.
Yep.
What surprised you in a good way about our area?
Super. Okay. So what was surprising is that so many people come here. They aren't necessarily born and raised here, but they're very committed when they get here, and they want to be involved here. They want to be part of the community. Versus I'm just coming in to party for 6 months. See ya.
Yeah.
They're really committed.
Yeah.
That has been great. It's been great to see.
Yeah. They're passionate about here. They love it here, and they want.
They
to
love
be
it here, and they want to be part of the community here. Yeah.
Yeah, I get a sense of that from most people here.
I'm sure.
Many. Yeah.
Yeah.
this is special.
And they're concerned, a hurricane's coming. It isn't, I'm just concerned about my property that's there. I'm concerned on the impact of the community, what's happening, how many households were affected, are people homeless? They
Yeah.
want to know this stuff.
Yeah. What else should people know about the organization?
About the Community Foundation? I think that if people have an interest at all in giving, we can create the type of fund they want. So, and for us, some of our most important dollars are kind of unrestricted, where people just go, here are assets for you for the future, whatever the need might be. You have to have those dollars that we, the Community Foundation, can fall back on, going, okay, we got a pot of money here. We just had a hurricane. We're going to pull some money out of that, and we're going to start getting food and water and things into this community. Those unrestricted dollars are so important in a community foundation. But if donors want to be very specific and say, I only want to give to animals, I only want to give to housing, I only want to give to St. Matthew's House, or, Harry Chapin, or whatever it is, that's cool too. No problem. Because it's helping those organizations specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How could somebody who's just average in this community help? How could they make a difference?
Average, I think the great thing about the Community Foundation, you do not have to be a millionaire to give to the Community Foundation. When you start a fund at the Community Foundation, we like to see $10,000 in that fund. So we have small businesses who have started them. We have individuals who have started them at $10,000. And then they can spend anything above that $10,000. We like 10 in there because if we don't invest at least 10, we usually don't get it to live forever. It usually will spend down because you'll have a bad couple of years in the market or something that affects it. So that's why we like 10. If we can get 10 in there, usually we can get it to live forever, if that's the goal. And people who just want to give, like we do a uniform. Every other year we do a big campaign for uniforms for the kids in the schools because it's expensive and parents can't afford all these uniforms. So it's like $50. The kids get 2 pairs of shorts, a sweatshirt, and like 2 shirts. It's like, it's not a lot of money for the amount of clothes they get.
Yeah.
So people can send us a check for $50 for the uniform, so they can give in a variety of ways.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be, oh, well, if I don't have $1 million, I can't talk to the Community Foundation.
Yeah.
I mean, we want to talk to you if you have $1 million, but we're also happy to talk to you if you've got $25 you want to give away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many people here are from Wisconsin. They're a lot.
Midwest, definitely.
Midwest,
Minnesota.
for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
What are some things you miss about that area?
Well, the great thing is most of them are here. So
Yeah.
the Midwest is here.
Yeah.
And people are friendly just like they are there,
Yeah.
which I'm really grateful for, because that would be one thing I would miss if it didn't exist here is, you walk the beach and people say hello to you,
Yeah.
You walk wherever you are, people say hello, and
Yeah.
that's the Midwest.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I do not miss the snow or winter
Yeah.
at all. But we have a lot of family there, and we do get back, and I'm back there about 20 minutes, and my accent is all back, 100%, and will stay with me until the next time I go over there. So all the states are good. Everybody's got their pros and cons, that's for sure.
What's something you always do when you go back up? A place you go eat or something you always do?
Oh, yeah. There's several places we go eat that we always do, but we have a lot of friends, because we were there, 30 some years. Our kids grew up there. So you have your friends that have been there forever. That's it. And most of our family is in Wisconsin.
And what area was that?
Neenah, Menasha. We were in Neenah.
Okay. What's, for somebody visiting that area, what's something they should do?
Oh, man. You're on Lake Winnebago, so that is a premier shallow lake, like the second premier shallow lake in the United States. So definitely want to check out Lake Winnebago.
What's a shallow lake? What does that mean?
It's like, I think the deepest parts are only like 60 feet. It's very much that.
Okay.
But there is obviously EAA, which is the Experimental Aviation Museum. They have a big event for planes like 750,000 people will go in and out of Oshkosh, Wisconsin the last week of July for EAA.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a major thing.
Yeah.
But the museums there, from the Wright brothers on, something really interesting to hear about is aviation and experimental. A lot of these airplanes that are coming into Oshkosh at that time are built. My husband built 3. So,
really?
Yes. So people who are aviation buffs and pilots, anybody who's a pilot knows about EAA in Oshkosh, Wisconsin.
Well, why is that there in that area? What's the?
They started it there. It's like the biggest aviation event in the world, I believe, happens there on Whitman Field. So
And what's the food that Wisconsin known for? Cheese, obviously. but
everything's deep fried.
Oh, deep fried, yeah.
Deep fried cheese.
Deep fried cheese. Oh, I didn't know that
Absolutely.
existed. That sounds
No,
good.
cheese curds, deep fried cheese curds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have a lot of butter and a lot of cheese.
Butter and cheese. Yeah. Okay.
Ice cream. But you have Culver's here now. I mean, Culver's is
Because
Wisconsin.
that's where that's.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take credit for that.
Yeah, they're
Wisconsin.
popping up everywhere now. Culver's is
Yes,
all over
they
down
are.
here. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So that's a homegrown one.
That's a
Yeah.
homegrown one.
Okay. I didn't realize that. Going
Yeah.
there. Any books or movies that have had a big impact on you in your life?
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
I mean, I read a lot of work stuff, so
Yeah.
it's hard to say, you know?
Yeah. What's something you read recently that you like?
Actually, there is one, Jim Collins, who wrote the book, you know,
Good
that
to Great?
Good to Great, but he also wrote a small book around it for nonprofits. And so I think that is really important because it talks about mission creep, you know, because nonprofits will sometimes chase dollars. So it's like, oh, there's a grant. Let's go. We'll create a new program and we'll get that, even though it's got nothing to do with their mission, right? And so you end up, a lot of times programs falling apart and dying because you can't sustain them because you're chasing dollars. So that is interesting for in the nonprofit sector in which I would be in.
I didn't know that. I didn't know he had another book in that.
Yeah, it's like
genre.
it's a skinny little thing. It's not real deep, but
Yeah.
it does talk about that. But you know, I mean, books like Bowling Alone, things that talk about how society has changed, and you know, the whole issue about people need to be involved in politics and voting and how we set our government. I mean, those are all things. And again, because I have my master's in public administration, that's the stuff you kind of look at is where are we at in this society and what are we doing as a society? And people need to be looking at politically what's happening, whether you support it or don't support it. Have a view,
Yeah.
have a view and vote. You know.
Bowling Alone is what it's
Bowling
called?
Alone, yeah. It was a book written about that, about how people have changed. You used to bowl in teams, right?
Yeah.
People have kind of gone off and they're doing their own thing now. But it's an interesting book.
Okay. I'll put that on my list.
There you go.
Thank you. Good. Any podcasts that you listen to?
Nothing consistent, I have
No.
to say.
Yeah.
I wait for retirement when that day comes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. If your life was a movie, what would the opening soundtrack
Oh,
be?
my gosh. Come on, Eileen. No, you know that.
Sexy's Midnight Runner.
There you
go. Yeah. That's perfect. Yeah. Very
Okay.
good. What music do you listen to when you listen to music?
I'm a 70s person.
Yeah.
That is, yes. That is the John Denver, the James Taylor, the
Okay.
Boston,
Okay.
all of it.
All right, good. We're going to add all those because I have a playlist we put together of all of our guests. So
Oh yeah, no.
John Denver,
Yeah.
Boston,
Yeah.
James Taylor.
My son always goes, "You guys had the best music."
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
I think we did in the 70s.
Yeah. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
it was really good stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to add those to our playlist here.
Yeah.
If you could go back to your 10-year-old self, what would you tell yourself?
I should have been an attorney.
Mm.
I'm already putting that in for my next life.
Yeah.
Coming
Attorney?
back as an attorney next
Why?
time. I think I would be really good at it. I'm passionate and I public speak all the time, love it. And I can convince people of things. So
Yeah.
I think that was I think I didn't set my sights maybe high enough back when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But my daughter's an attorney, so
Oh, is she really?
She gets
Yeah.
to live it out for me.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Down here? Or?
She was here. She was with the prosecutor's office here, but she went back to Indiana, where she went to Butler and IU.
Oh, wow.
And is chief litigator for the city of Indianapolis right now. And so she likes the court thing.
She does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she likes to be in court. So.
And so she did that in Collier County?
She did that in Collier
that
County.
right?
She actually was hired a year before she even graduated law school. Miami hired her. And she went to Miami for 3 years, and then she came over here for 3 years.
Wow.
And then she decided being, in her 20s and being in Naples was not going to be conducive to her social life. So she went back.
True. I understand. I get
she
it.
went back to Indiana, and she likes the seasons.
What do you like about the area here? What are some of the attributes of Naples that you like?
My God! For me, it's the weather. I was cold all the time. I love being here. I love it here in summer. People complain. It's like, oh no, bring on the humidity and bring on the heat any day of the week.
I'm right there with you.
You know,
I love
like
it.
you could be sitting in Wisconsin, 70 below wind chills in winter.
How they do that?
I don't know. It was horrible. So it's gorgeous. The landscapes, the flowers, the only thing I'm anti-snake. That's my only negative.
Yeah, we have those. Yeah.
Yeah, just not my cup of tea at all.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm good to go here.
You don't have to worry about hitting deer here.
No,
right?
And they're little, even if you do.
Right, they're very little. Yeah, not like the deer you had there. Yeah.
Yeah, they're small. It's such an amazing community, and I'm so blessed to have stumbled upon it when the Wisconsin Community Foundations were coming in here in February and got to know the area a little bit. So yeah, really blessed.
Yeah, well, we're lucky to have you. Yeah,
thank you.
You've been good to us.
Thank you.
Done many good things for us. Appreciate what you do. Thank you. You have a favorite restaurant?
I have to say Bricktop is right up there for my husband and I.
Yeah. You live in Pelican Bay too.
Yeah,
right? So
we're
right
in
there.
Pelican Bay and it's close, but we're I don't know. The ribs are pretty good there. I have to say,
like the ribs. Yeah,
the ribs are good. So that would be one of our favorites.
What's going where Nordstrom's was? They're putting that.
It's going to be a furniture store of some sort.
All right.
But they're having a lot of changeover in Waterside right now.
I know.
A lot of store changeover.
Yeah.
I lost Ann Taylor and.
Ann Taylor's gone, huh?
Ann Taylor and Black and White.
Black and White's gone too.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Wow,
My
I didn't
two
know that.
favorite stores.
Yeah.
I was like, man.
Yeah, they're putting the higher. I saw a Dior going in there. I was like, they're putting this high end. That stuff in there.
Yeah. So that will all change and look different, and nothing stays the same.
No.
People always want it to be. It's like, I don't want it to be Miami, and I don't want it to be this and that, but it's going to change.
Yeah.
And the roads have to change here, driving and overpasses and all this.
Yeah.
It's going to have to.
Yeah. They've supported all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's coming here, no matter hurricanes or not. They're still coming. They're not going to stop
still
coming.
coming.
Yeah. My whole life. Our final question.
Yeah.
What do you love about your life?
Oh, lots. I have great kids. I have a great family. Great husband. I have very little complaints in my life, to be honest with you. And I have to say, I have an amazing staff at the Community Foundation. It is, I always say, this is the Super Bowl team right now that we have. They make this stuff happen. They are amazing. And I'm so grateful I have the opportunity to work with every single one of them. And so grateful that they stick with me and stay with the organization.
Yeah.
But it's what makes the difference. Yeah.
Well, we're always here to support you for whatever you may need. And I know you don't do fundraisers and things like that, but if you ever want to acknowledge a board member or your team or your staff, we can give you
thank you.
Products, goodie bags, anything like that to support what you guys are about and what you're up to, because you're making a difference in our community.
That's great.
Certainly appreciate what you do.
Thank you, and you too.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
You bet.